Welcome to the first lesson of the college application course. As you know, I'm your host, Abdulaziz Sharopov. A bit of information about me just before we begin. I've been teaching SAT for over a year now, and I'm also helping students with the college application process. As you can see, today's lesson is going to be entirely about mindset. Even before you start your application, you need to make sure you know why you are applying to American universities. Because with the wrong mindset, you've even lost before you begin. And so, let's take a look at how to make sure your mindset is correct. Even before you apply to university, make sure that your mindset is clear. If you need to, write down on a piece of paper, or maybe take a note on your laptop, giving yourself 2 to 3 sentences as to why you are applying abroad. Remember, most people do have a reason, but a lot of those reasons are not good. And so it's important that you listen till the end of today's lesson to actually figure out how you can explore your mindset correctly. All right, let's get started. You want to make sure you ask yourself, why are you applying abroad? Everyone has a personal reason, but what's yours? Pause this video for about 30 seconds and think about your own mindset. Why? Why are you applying to the United States? Now, with a lot of students, your answers may have been related to wanting to leave the country. That's totally okay. For a lot of you guys, maybe your reason is related to wanting to leave the country for various different reasons. Maybe you want to go to another country where the education quality is better. Or maybe you want to go to a country where jobs pay better. With some students, maybe they feel like they can't get the same type of program in their own country, and that's why they are applying to USA. But with all of these reasons, I need you to think about one thing. Aren't they very good reasons for why you should pay for university abroad? Just think about it. Oh, you want to get a chance to network with American students? Well, why don't you pay for it? Oh, you want to go to a country where the education quality is better? Why don't you pay for it? You want to study so that you can get a job that pays better? Another good reason for why you should pay for education. I need you guys to understand that with a lot of the reasons that you give, it all ties back to paying for your education. But remember, our goal is to get a full scholarship. So we need to think more deeply than that. Think about your way of contributing to the university. For example, let's say that you do want to study computer science in another country. Well, you don't want to just go there just for studying, but you also want to make sure that you are a better applicant compared to other people, that you will benefit the university that you are going to go to. And so right now, I want to show you guys about some case studies that I have made related to the application process. Let's begin with the first case study. This case study is related to computer science. One question that a lot of students end up asking me is, Mr. Abdulaziz, if I get 8.5 from IELTS, will I be able to study at MIT? Well, that's a very silly question. However, sometimes you need to take this seriously. And it makes me sad to see that students don't even have the basic form of mindset ready yet. And so right now, I'm going to give you guys 3 examples of students applying to MIT so that you can see exactly what you might need to do. The first student that we have, his name is Mirza Ulubek. Now, as you can see, Mirza Ulubek does not have an SAT score. Also, we see that he thinks IT is very cool. Who knows, maybe he watches a bunch of movies where there are hackers who are hacking into some sort of program. Or maybe he sees from some of the richest people in the world that they studied IT as well. Whatever the reason might be, Mirza Ulugh thinks that IT is very cool. One day, he's talking with his friends from local school, and they start getting into the topic of MIT. And one of them mentions that MIT is the best university for computer science. And that's when Mirza Ulugh starts thinking, maybe I could apply for the MIT as well. Now here's the thing. He suddenly wants to apply to MIT because it's so prestigious and because it's well known for computer science. But at the same time, he fails to recognize the issues with his application. And the weirdest part is that he expects MIT to give him a full scholarship. Obviously, he doesn't assume. But what I'm trying to say is, if MIT were to accept him right now, but tells him to pay $300,000, do you think he will? Probably not. This is what I mean by he expects them to give him a full scholarship. So, now I want you guys to think for a moment. Pause the video if you need to. Will Mirza Ulugh get accepted to MIT? You probably didn't even need to pause the video. It's obviously a straight no. First of all, he doesn't even have an SAT score. On top of that, he hasn't even given himself a good reason for why he wants to study there. He simply wants to go there because it's very prestigious. Now, think of how many other people there are in the world who also want to go to MIT just because it's prestigious. And on top of that, the fact that he wants MIT to give him a full scholarship, even though he has no qualifications, no benefits towards the university, this is honestly absurd. Let's take a look at our next candidate. This candidate's name is Doston Han. As you can see, Doston Han has great grades at school, and he knows 4 programming languages. Doston Han is so good at computer science that he was able to create a software that suggests what clothes to wear based on the weather forecast. So imagine, you have the app, you've already showed what kind of clothes that you have inside your house, and as soon as you wake up, the app tells you exactly what you could wear. This is genius, honestly. And we can clearly see that he has a good SAT score, 1530, and won many hackathons. Finally, it's been his dream to study at MIT for many years. He's been dreaming of it ever since he was 12 years old. So, I want you guys to now take a moment and pause the video. Do you think Doston Han has a chance of getting accepted? Now that we're back, I'd like to tell you the answer. I have a feeling that Doston Han is going to get rejected. The reason why is because even though he's very smart, even though he does well at school, and he's been able to create such great programs, his reason for applying to MIT is not a good one. He just wants to apply there because it's been his childhood dream. And you might be thinking, but Mr. Abdulaziz, this is a good thing. Unfortunately, it's not. Just because you have a childhood dream doesn't make it a good reason for wanting to go to MIT. It's a very sophisticated university, and I'm sure hundreds of thousands of people have a childhood dream of going there. He needs a reason that is more solid than that. Let's take a look at our third contestant. This contestant's name is Haji Ali, and he has very similar academics to Doston Han. However, he also has a passion for tennis, and he's been dreaming of launching his own revolutionary startup in Uzbekistan and has already started creating it. What's the revolutionary startup about? Don't ask me. I'm not Haji Ali. But let's just say that it's very revolutionary. And finally, he realizes that he needs to go to a university like MIT in order for him to be able to network with other great people, for him to learn what is necessary for creating a great startup. And so, because of his goals, he decides to apply to MIT. Now I want you guys to pause the video and think for yourself. Do you think Haji Ali will get accepted? Alright, now we're back. My own answer for this question would probably be that you can't guarantee anyone to actually get accepted to MIT, but among the three contestants, Haji Ali definitely does have the highest chances. Just take a moment and look at the fact that he is very similar to Dastan Han, and on top of that, he has a very good reason for why he's applying. He wants to create this revolutionary startup. He already knows what it's about. And on top of that, he has already began creating it. This shows you that he has a bigger passion than just going for university. That he actually wants something greater in his life than just MIT. And on top of that, he's also started creating that startup. Unfortunately, he realizes that he's not able to do it alone. He's not able to just do it as Haji Ali. He needs to be Haji Ali of MIT so that he will be respected in the local community. And also, he knows that he can network with other students at MIT who might be able to join him on his startup. And so for that reason, he's going to MIT. He has a reason related to his bigger passions. What can you gain from these three stories? The main thing I want you guys to know is that you need to have a higher purpose. And that purpose needs to be beyond the university. Your target should not be the university and just that. Your target should be what's behind that university, your future career, your long-term goals. And you should convince the university that you're going to them in order to achieve those greater goals. Now, computer science is not the only case study that we have for today. I also want to show you a second case study. The second case study is related to urban planning. Now, one thing about my own application is that I was very passionate about urban planning. In case you don't know, urban planning is similar to architecture. However, urban planners don't just design the building. They design parts of the city, the infrastructure, the sustainability. They make sure the city is efficient as possible and can sustain life. And so, even though I got accepted to Northwestern with a media degree, and I honestly do love media as well, back then I didn't know this, and I simply wanted to go for urban planning. And so, while I was applying for urban planning, I started considering my own mindset, and I would like to explain to you that mindset related to three sample candidates. Let's take a look at these candidates right now. First, we have Asal Begum. This student really enjoys drawing and painting pictures. Somehow, she managed to study for the SAT and IELTS and got 1,240. She wants to apply to university abroad, but doesn't exactly know why. If you were to go up to her and ask, do you want to go to the United States and study? She'll say, yeah, definitely. But as soon as you ask why, silence. Just like many other people in our country. One time, she's sitting on Instagram, scrolling down, and she sees a university. An advertisement for a university that is offering a full scholarship. And so she decides to take a look at this university and notices that they have a program called urban planning. She does some research on Google and sees that urban planning is similar to architecture, and she thinks, wow, I love to draw. I have an SAT score. How about I try applying to this university? How about I apply for the urban planning program? I want you guys to pause the video and tell me, do you think she's going to get accepted? All right, now that we're back, the straight answer is probably not. The first issue that I see with her application is that she has 1,240, which, to be honest, is a bit too low. Especially if you're trying to get a full scholarship for university, you need to consider getting anywhere above 1,350. And if you're applying for those top universities, then make sure it's 1,450 or higher. And other parts of her application as well. Her mindset is dead. She wants to go to university abroad. She's interested, but she has no reason for it. And that is her biggest downfall. Even with a low SAT score, if she had the correct mindset, if she was a valuable candidate for the university, maybe they would have taken her. But she just doesn't have that mindset for applying. So she's likely to get rejected. Our next candidate is Mahmoud John. Mahmoud John is overall a great student. He has taken the SAT and even got 1370 as a score. Along with that, he has many extracurricular activities. Whenever there's some kind of event that's happening at school, you can count on Mahmoud John to be there. He reminds me of myself from 2 years ago. However, he's insecure about his SAT score. Personally, he feels that 1370 is too low. Let me just remind you guys, 1370 is not a bad score. It's fairly decent, and it certainly does give him a chance at getting a full scholarship. However, he doesn't know that. He didn't listen to Mr. Abdulaziz. He listened to all of his friends who were saying, you need to get 1500 in order to qualify. And so, with his insecurity, he doesn't know what to do. He definitely wants to go to a top university, but he's afraid of applying for the faculty that he wants, for the major that he really wants, which might be, I don't know, engineering or architecture. Over here, he applies to a prestigious university and decides to choose urban planning because he thinks that it'll be easy. He thinks to himself, urban planning. I've never heard of that program before. Maybe nobody else has as well. Little does he know, there's a lot of people, a lot of qualified people who apply for urban planning. And so, I want you guys to tell me, does Mahmoud John have a chance of getting accepted? Pause the video to think about it. All right, we're back. Personally, I feel like Mahmoud John could possibly get accepted. His SAT scores quite well, and his extracurriculars are amazing. The one thing he kind of lacks is that his application isn't really related to urban planning that much. He hasn't done much related to urban planning. And so even though he might have a chance of getting accepted, there's still a very good chance that he will be rejected. Let's move on to our third contestant. Our last contestant's name is Tursunzoda, and she is also an overall great student, just like Mahmoud John. She got 1390 on the SAT, very similar to Mahmoud John. However, she has been wanting to do urban planning for a long time. She even decided to do an internship at the local city planning agency in her country, let's say, the local city planning agency of Tashkent. So not only did she do an internship though, on top of that, she participated in an online course, an MOOC, MOOC, as I like to call it. The special part about MOOCs is that they provide you an accredited scholarship at the very end. So it's not just any type of online course. She will actually get the certification. And her MOOC was related to urban studies. And guess what? She really enjoyed the online course. Finally, she has a big goal of wanting to make the city sustainable by improving the architecture. However, one thing she noticed during her internship was that local agencies don't really know much about urban planning. A lot of their strategies are very old, or maybe they are not so efficient. And so she feels that she needs to study abroad at a better university that has been doing urban planning for a long time. And so that's why she's applying to this university. She wants to take the knowledge from there and bring it back to her country so that she can impact her own city in a good way. Now I want you guys to pause the video and tell me, does Tursunzoda have a good chance? All right, we're back. Personally, I would say that Tursunzoda has the best chance out of anyone else. And I would even go as far as to say her chances are probably 100%. Not only does she have a decent SAT score, but she's also a great student at school. But related to her major, related to her own interest, she has even done an internship. Think about that. As a high school student, doing an internship is something amazing. And there's a good reason for why she did the internship. She wants to see how the job really is, how it's like to be a city planner. So she's already experienced it, and the university knows because she sent a recommendation letter from her boss. But not only that, she's also tried studying urban planning on her own by taking that online course, not to mention which she really enjoyed. So far, we can already see that Tursunzoda takes initiative. She takes action. She wants to become a city planner. She's not going to wait till university. She's going to start now with doing internships to see how the job is. Even doing online courses to see if she'll genuinely like the program. The thing with a lot of students is that they might want to do some kind of subject like engineering or maybe computer science, but they don't have enough experience with these majors. When they go to university, they might feel like this is not the place for them, and suddenly they start wanting to drop out. That's bad for the university. Luckily, with Tursunzoda's case, the university can clearly see that she loves what she does, and she's shown the initiative. And on top of that, she has a greater goal. Her greater goal is to make the city more sustainable, which she's already been trying to do related to her internship. However, she notices from her internship that local city planning agencies are not that qualified. And so she wants to learn better strategies and to learn from top universities so that she can come back and use that knowledge for helping her country. Overall, I would say that Tursunzoda has an 100% chance, as I mentioned before, for these reasons. Is there any chance that she might get rejected? Well, yes, there is a chance. Remember that the people checking your applications are humans as well. They might make some mistakes, or they might miss some applications. And so that also goes back to mindset, remembering the whole human factor that could happen. So that means when you apply to university, make sure you apply to enough universities so that even if one of them you get unlucky, with the others you do have a chance. Let's say she applies to 5 universities for the urban planning faculty. She might get rejected from one of them, but definitely I would say that 4 of them would accept her. That's pretty much it for the first lesson related to mindset. Before I let the video end, I want you guys to remember, the mindset is not as simple as just saying, oh, I want to go to university because I want to have a better life. You do need to think more deeply about your life and your future. Remember not to aim for university, but to aim for what's after university. Aim for a life goal. Figure out what you want to do with your life, and then make sure that university ties with that. Make sure your university can contribute to your life goal. And remember to make sure that you are useful to the university as well, because you can't just expect the university to want you. You definitely have to give something back. Either it's paying the tuition, or if you don't want to pay the tuition, make sure that you are useful to the university by being a smart student and being very capable. We'll talk more about this in upcoming lessons, but it's been nice to have you for the first lesson of the college application course. See you later.